Well, folks, today I've got a setting like in a spaceship from Star Wars. So, wonder what our subject's going to be about. What's the presentation? Well, is science real? Happens to be the title of my presentation today. But before we get started, I once again want to say thank you for spending some time with me today, allowing me to give another one of my many presentations that I've accumulated over the years. And I think it's important for you to understand who I am, which is Richard Walker. And I wanted to let you know how much I appreciate you uh, allowing me to help you understand so many different facets about life. Um, it's very interesting to have various presentations and various topics to talk about, to study, and to research. And I read and research all the time. After 30 years, I retired from the medical field, and my medical career began at Indiana University when I majored in allied health. And following my academic accomplishments, I joined the United States Army Medical Corps during the Vietnam War, and I was stationed in Incheon, Korea, which also was a combat zone area. Uh, and I spent over a year and a half in the Incheon area. Incheon is about 45, 50 miles from the DMZ, demilitarized zone, um, in from North Korea. And after completing my military tour, I returned to the civilian world and assisted running pathology laboratories, both private pathology laboratories as well as hospital laboratories. And in the interim, different times in my career, I also held further professional career responsibilities, both state and regional management positions for non medical, national, and international companies. I completed my professional career with the international company of GlaxoSmithKline Clinical Pathology Laboratory, whereupon I took my retirement. I have also traveled in 12 different countries, both in Europe and Asia, and I've studied different languages along the way. Once you are in a different country and you make the effort to try to understand their language and speak their language, you are readily accepted and appreciated because you're identifying with them that you want to know more about their world, their country, their life, and their culture. My lectures are sponsored by Home Choice Network, which we believe that independence for seniors and peace of mind for families is extremely important. Home Choice Network is a home care agency, which is licensed by the state of North Carolina and regulated by the Department of Health and Human Services out of Raleigh. We've been in existence for over 16 years. By the way, I've held the position of president of Toastmasters International Club of the Sandhills. This is a worldwide organization dedicated to public speaking and leadership development. At this time, I would like for you to sit back, relax, and hopefully you enjoy my exciting presentation regarding the title, Is Science Real? So often, even today with the COVID-19, uh, people are questioning, are the medical doctors correct in their concerns about wearing masks or washing our hands or position ourselves at least 6 feet apart from other individuals? This is a challenge for society. And some people even question, is science correct in identifying what the medical professional field understands and is questioning about the health and the safety of our society? And it's very, very sad when people say that our country is a free country and we have a right to congregate and we have a right for freedom of speech. And they are 100% correct. This is a free country, and we do have that right. But we also have responsibility. And I say to people that are questioning the value of distancing from each other or perhaps even wearing a mask during this COVID crisis, that's no different than you having a driver's license. It's a free country. You have a right to obtain a driver's license, but that doesn't mean that you ignore all of the speed signs and drive 100 miles an hour down through the city anywhere that you so desire, just because you feel you have a right to drive as fast as you want. We have laws and regulations that says you don't, but it's not taking away from your freedom. It's exhibiting responsibility that we have to each other, to our society. So I think science plays a very key role in helping us understand the reality and the importance of the life about us. Just like this background that I have, it's a spacecraft that could not have been, as we travel in space, created if it wasn't for science. Now, the Webster Dictionary states that science is as follows: the systematically organized body of knowledge on a particular subject. Science is the study of the nature and behavior of things and the knowledge we obtain from them. Another way to define science is it is an ever-changing process as we increase our knowledge and understanding of that which is being studied. Now, that's another thing. I hear some people say, well, you never can depend on science because it's always changing. Well, of course it's changing because we are acquiring more knowledge as we do research, do study, and see the various aspects of reality about us. So science is organized knowledge. Nothing has such power to broaden the mind as the ability to investigate systematically and truly all that comes under one's observation in life. That's another way to define science. Science is specifically, and I probably end up repeating myself a little bit, is defined as observation, identification, description, experimental investigation, and theoretical explanation of natural phenomena. There are many fields of science. When someone talks about science, what are they talking about? Well, it depends on the specific field of science. For example, we have physics, we have chemistry, we have biology, we have psychology, sociology, astrology, anthropology, paleontology, the study of past civilizations. There are many fields of science. These are just a few. Science can be permanent, like 2 plus 2, it equals 4, or it can be ever-changing as one step at a time leads to the next step in the knowledge of understanding. The definition of intelligence, and this happens to be my quote, my personal observation that I've had over life, and by the way, I'm 78 years old, so I've had a few years, but my personal observation is that science is the definition of intelligence. And the definition to me of intelligence is the acknowledgement and understanding of ignorance. Now, the older I become, the more I study and read, the more I discover what I don't know, all that I don't know, just how much ignorance I really have about me. But a spark of intelligence, I think I do have by recognizing the knowledge that I have acquired and enlightening all that I really don't know. That's why I read constantly and I put presentations together and I enjoy research. It, to me, is exciting to learn about something you really don't know. Some folks believe that science and religion are separate. That's an interesting subject. If your religion states that God created everything, and most religions do, then God created science. Since science is nothing more than the understanding and explanation of that which God has created. Think about it. People say, well, God created everything. God knows even down to the amount of different hairs you have on your head. That's fine. If that's your belief, that's fine. But the hairs of your head are science. It's all part of your body, your life, your growth. So science helps us understand what God has created. Man often finds himself in a state of ignorance and does not realize that he is in such a state. It's amazing the amount of individuals that will believe in whatever they want to without opening their minds to learn the reality. For example, Syracuse was a scientist 300 BC. Just think, 300 years before Christ. And he identified that the Earth was a planet rotating around the sun. And 1,800 years later, people still wanted to believe that the Earth was the center of the universe. But Copernicus, an Italian scientist, said no. You know, the sun is what our planet is rotating around. So, and people even back then thought, well, the Earth's flat, and if you go out on the ocean on a boat, you're going to drop off the edge. People like to, a lot of times, stay in a state of ignorance because they sort of find it like a comfort that they can pull about them and feel secure, but it's false. What's really can be secure is the knowledge of what life about you is all about. Now, why does man stay in darkness? Well, I think more out of fear than anything. So what I say, light a candle in a dark room. And if you don't light the candle, of course, you're going to be in the dark. But remove the fear of the dark and find what's in the room. Knowledge is light and can eliminate fear. So, the aspect of staying ignorant or understanding science and knowledge, which way is the best way to go? And it was shortly after Copernicus that Galileo Galilei in 1564, when he was born, he died in 1642, but he used a telescope he invented, and in Greek, tele means far, and skopine means see. But once again, Galileo said that the sun was the center of our solar system, and the earth is not the center of the universe. The ignorance of man continued even as Pope Urban VIII had Galileo put under house arrest and in prison. Well, what we're talking about now is the society and the power that continued to accept what was not real. And the Pope didn't want the truth to be known. He wanted to remain in a position that he was in charge of the faith of the people in the world and that of the universe. So Galileo has been identified as history goes by as the father of modern science. Science moves forward to identify what is real as science discovered what God has created or is creating. As I've mentioned, creation is the end result of the active verb creating, which changes and moves forward as we see the creation of life and its changes from new birth of life to an adult. If a tree stops changing, and growing, then it dies. Life is change. The earth changes, the universe changes, and we change. Therefore, we have life. I do not exclude God, but include God with science. Science is the end result of what God creates. I might sound like I'm repeating myself, but it's important to have this clear understanding, in my opinion. Be who you are and say what you feel, because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. This was a statement by Bernard M. Baruch. He was an American financier and a political consultant to two presidents, that of Woodrow Wilson and Franklin Delano Roosevelt, regarding economics. Excuse me. Let's look at science and the reality of movement and speed. The Earth is spinning at the equator around 1,000 miles per hour. How do I know this? Well, there are 24 hours in a day and night. Excuse me. Well, as I mentioned, there's 24 hours in a day and night combined with one revolution of the Earth. And the circumference of the Earth is around 24,901 miles. Thus, each hour, the Earth has to spin approximately 1,000 miles an hour to make a complete revolution in 24 hours. These are just facts and science. Now let's take the Earth revolving around the sun, which takes approximately 365 days at a distance of 93 million miles from the sun. To make one complete revolution over 1 year, it moves at approximately 67,700 miles per hour. Now we're flying through space. Since our solar system sun lies on the outer arm of our Milky Way galaxy, and it takes our galaxy 230 million years to make one revolution, then our solar system must travel at approximately 448,000 miles an hour. Consequently, we are moving at a total speed of over 515,000 miles an hour. And you wonder, how can we sit still or stand still? And that all goes back to gravity. What is real is gravity, speed, time, and space. And we all know about Einstein and E equals mc squared. Energy equals the mass times the speed of light squared. We're allowing science to help us understand the reality of life. Even though we don't think we're moving fast, we're moving very fast. No wonder, I guess, it gets windy once in a while. I love science, since science is always open for change and challenges to always search for what is real and what we don't understand. Let us remember, intelligence is the acknowledgement and understanding of ignorance, which takes us one more step toward reality. So I'd like to leave you with a few quotes. Aldous Huxley, who was an English writer and philosopher, he once stated, "Facts do not cease to exist just because they're ignored." And I thought that was a very good statement. And Richard Feynman, who was a theoretical physicist, an American, once said, "Religion is a culture of faith. Science is a culture of doubt. And as we have doubt, we have research and we seek what is real." It's different to get a man to understand something when his job depends on not understanding it. That was another quote by Upton Sinclair, which you're aware he is an American writer and has written next to 100 books. But it's interesting, and I'll repeat what he said. It's different to getting man to understanding something when his job depends on not understanding it. Now, Reynold Niebuhr, born in 1892 and died in 1971, was an American theologian. And he said, "Grant me this serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. And through wisdom and knowledge and the reality of science, we have the opportunity to learn to understand what is the difference." I wish to take a moment to thank you for allowing myself and Home Choice Network to spend some time with you today. I realize I've covered a lot of material and knowledge regarding science, but science plays a key role for our understanding in life itself and life around us. Let us keep the candle of knowledge glowing and allow ourselves to see what darkness can hide. It is always a pleasure to have time with you, and we here at Home Choice Network continue to take great concern in making sure that we are able to help people have a more healthy understanding and a loving life. So I would like to say thank you and have a great day.